ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधानाथ स्वामिनिति नामिने नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशतारिणे ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सकगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सकगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसूते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ईश्वरा परम कृष्णा सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिरादिर गोविंदा सर्व कारण कारणम। हरे कृष्ण। I welcome all those who have joined for the first time today to our Bhagavad Gita class. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, we are studying Bhagavad Gita every day, basically 6 days a week. So we don't have on Monday morning India time. Otherwise, Tuesday to Sunday morning, every day we have this Bhagavad Gita class. So I'm actually going to go through all the chapters, all the slokas. Many times I'll be repeating. So those who are joining for the first time, you don't need to think that we are starting somewhere in between, because Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters, 700 verses, and I will be actually touching most of these slokas also every day. But also at the end, we will be like studying, like right now we are in the 14th chapter. So towards the end, I will be covering one sloka every day. So that is our style of studying Bhagavad Gita. So in fact, today we are going to study 4 slokas. Normally one sloka, but in this 4 slokas are coming together. So that's why we will be studying this sloka number 22 to 25 in the 14th chapter. But otherwise, this Bhagavad Gita itself, we need to understand the entire Bhagavad Gita, all these slokas, all the chapters. And first of all, what is Bhagavad Gita? What is the meaning of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita means the song of God. We all know that. So Gita means it is song, and it is the song of God. And who is God? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is very, very clearly telling us that he is the God. Mattaka parataram na anyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. So there is nothing else is superior to me. That's what Krishna is teaching us. We will understand that when we study this Bhagavad Gita fully, without any doubt, we will understand that how Krishna is the Purushottama. He is the Purushottama. He is above everything. Yasmat charam atito aham aksharat apicha uttamam. He is above the both kshara and akshara, both fallible and infallible beings. Tatosmi loke vedecha pratitaha purushottama. That's why I am celebrated in all the worlds as the Purushottama, as the supreme personality of Godhead. That's what Krishna says. So, because he is singing, he is giving us this knowledge, this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. So Krishna is teaching us the knowledge about ourself, about the soul. In the first 6 chapters, we will very clearly understand about ourself. So Krishna is teaching very clearly, starting from the 2nd chapter, 11th sloka, because when Arjuna asks the question in the 2nd chapter, 7th sloka, Yastreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme, you please tell me for certain what is good for me. That's what Arjuna asks the question. You tell me what is good for me. In this world, we don't know what is good for us. That is the big problem actually. We think that we know everything, but in reality, we don't know anything. That is the fact. Because what we know, it's only all about these 5 material elements. That's what we know. Of course, we know a lot about them. We know a lot about this earth, water, fire, air, and space, especially in the last century. We have advanced so much in the atomic physics and basically with atoms and everything, and with the periodic table in the chemistry. So everything happened only in the last century. So all these years, if you go back to the 19th century, this much of science was not available. So now we know, but still we know only about this material nature. We don't know about our self, that we are the soul. We are not the body, we are the soul. The sole purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita is to understand that we are the soul. We are not the body. And we should be doing each and every activity in our life, every day, every moment, only with this understanding, with this knowledge, thinking that I am the soul, I am not the body. But are we doing like that? Not at all. Without the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we always think that we are this body. And we try to do everything only to satisfy the needs of our body, which is going to grow old, get diseased, and ultimately we are going to die. We are going to lose this body. So that is the fact. So we cannot maintain this body forever. We need to understand. Of course, we need a healthy body. We need a, in fact, in reality, really speaking, these days, because we try to do so much for our body, but actually we are not doing anything really good for our body. That is the fact. Because we are so much attached to material sense objects, we don't know what to eat. And we don't know how much to eat. And we get ourselves a lot of problems. Especially the stress-induced problems to the body is so much. Many times I have explained in our Bhagavad Gita class that there are 2 types of nervous system, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So when the sympathetic nervous system is activated, whenever we are stressful, whenever we are worried about something, so when we are under stress, immediately the sympathetic nervous system will be activated. So when that happens, our heart rate goes up very high, our blood pressure will increase, our respiration rate will also go up very high, and our digestion system will go slow down. A lot of problems will happen to our health, a lot of problems. We don't know, but that is the reality, that is the fact, and a lot of problems will happen. That's why all these acidity problems, digestion problems, bowel movement problems, there are so many problems will come to our body. It's everything is actually caused by stress. We need to understand. So, but when our parasympathetic nervous system is active, everything will be so normal. Our heart rate will be very normal, blood pressure will be normal, our digestion system will be very nice, and a lot of things will be normal. So that way, really speaking, in this material world, we think that we are great, we are doing a lot of things. In fact, in reality, really speaking, we don't need all these kind of medications. These days, people, when they get old, like all kinds of medications for diabetes, blood pressure, and a lot of things, which can be simply avoided if you don't get stressed. That's it. If you don't get stressed, then these problems won't even come. And how we can free ourselves from that stress? Only this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is teaching us how to control our mind, how to make our mind very peaceful. So that way we are very blissful. So that way we are not stressed at all. So that way we can effectively make use of this human body, which is a rare opportunity. There are so many species, millions of species. So in that, getting this human body, especially the human brain, is very special. Human brain is very, very special. I have mentioned many times in the past. I have already mentioned about it. The human brain is very special. So only with our human brain, with human body, we can ask the question, who am I? What is the goal of this life? What is the purpose of this life? And is there life after death? What am I going to do after death? So all such things will be answered completely in this Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is the single book, just one book, which answers all our questions completely. If you understand this Bhagavad Gita, this 700 slokas verses 18 chapters as a subject, if you study this book as a subject and understand all the questions asked by Arjuna and all the answers given by Krishna, so that means we understand everything about ourselves. All our problems can be solved at once. The real problem is actually living in this material world, having this material body. So that is what our real problem. We need to solve this problem. So from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is actually in the 11th chapter, in the 11th sloka, in the second chapter, Krishna is telling Arjuna that you are speaking like a learned person, but you don't know anything. Asochan anvasochastvam prajnavadamscha bhasasi. So you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. When speaking like a learned person, you are worrying for no reason. Because gata soon, agata soomscha nanu sochanti pandita. A pandita, a learned person, does not lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Because he knows that the soul is always there. The soul, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to exist. So that's what Krishna told Arjuna. So we are there all the time. The soul is eternal. The soul is neither birth nor death at any point of time. We know, we study like the law of conservation of mass or the law of conservation of energy, everything we study. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. That we know. We understand very much. We are applying those laws. That's why we are able to actually invent so many things. The energy is always there. The mass is always there. No one can create the mass. No one can destroy the mass. Similarly, the energy cannot be created or destroyed. So what is the difficulty in understanding that the soul can neither be created nor be destroyed? So we are that soul. And if we expect our scientists to like declare that there is soul, that's never going to happen. It's not at all going to happen. Because the soul is not material. We need to understand. So if we think that everything is material in this material world, then we are fooling ourselves. That is the fact. So with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we will be able to very, very clearly understand that we are not the body, we are the soul. In the 14th sloka, in the second chapter, Krishna is teaching, Deginoshmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. In the 13th sloka, in the second chapter. Deginoshmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatrana mukhyati. So we are actually changing our body from the childhood to youth, from the youth to old age, from the boyhood to youth, youth to old age. Kaumaram yavvanam jara. Dehinosmin yatha dehe. So how being inside this body, dehino asmin, yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. How we are changing the body of boyhood, youthhood and old age. So that's what dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. Tatha dehantara praptir. Similarly, at the time of death, we will get another body. Tatha dehantara praptir. Dhiras tatrana mukhyati. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. It's a very important science. Krishna is teaching us. This body is always changing. We know. Even as per our modern science, we know. Each and every cell in our body is actually changing. It's always splitting. Even though the neurons, they never split like the other cells undergo. But different cells, depending upon what organ it belongs to, so they have different cycles to split actually. So, but the important point here is that each and every molecule, the biomolecule in our cell, that is changing. That's what we need to understand. Everything is changing. So, but something is not changing. It's very easy to understand. From the boyhood to youth, or from the youth to old age, the person is the same. That thinking, feeling that I am this person is the same. The relationship between us and everyone, with our parents, with our brothers, siblings, relatives, with everyone, friends, everyone, it's the same relationship until we die. but something is not at all changing. So that is what is the soul. The soul is inside this body. We need to understand. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmat akasam nopalipyate sarvatra avasita dehe tathatma nopalipyate. Krishna is teaching so scientifically. The sky which pervades everywhere doesn't mix with anything. Similarly, the soul which pervades this entire body doesn't mix with the body. How easy it is to understand. So much science. Krishna is teaching us very scientifically. Have we seen the space? Are we able to see the space with our eyes? Or are we able to hear the space with our senses? With none of our senses, we are able to actually see the space or feel the space. But we know that there is space. One of the 5 elements, basic elements, earth, water, fire, air, and space. So, ether and space. So, we believe in that. So, similarly, the soul, we cannot see that. But the soul is there. We are not the body, we are the soul. So, when we understand this, Krishna is actually teaching us in Bhagavad Gita that we are not the body, we are the soul, but we are bound inside this body. The soul is caged inside this body. That is our problem. We need to recognize, we need to understand, we need to realize that this is our real problem, that we are bound inside this body. How are we going to free ourselves? By committing suicide? That's not going to be possible. Then we will be bound into another body. That's what is going to happen. Sattvam rajas tama ithi gunaha prakriti sambhavaha nibandhanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. So sattva, raja and tama, the 3 modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance, they bind the soul into the body. Nibandhanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. Dehe means inside the body. Dehinam means the soul. So nibandhanti, it binds. So we are not the body, we are the soul. The body is always changing, but we never change. But the problem is that we are bound inside this body. So that is the problem. And we are bound by the 3 modes of material nature. The 3 modes of material nature are binding us inside this body. So, by getting this knowledge, what are we supposed to do in our life? We should use all our energy, resources, time, and everything. What we should do? We should free ourselves. That's what is our goal. That should be our goal. We should free ourselves from this material world, material body, material nature. And this material world, Krishna is teaching us, Krishna is describing us. It is dukkhalayam asaswatam. It's a temporary, asaswatam, miserable place. Dukkhalayam. So it's a temporary, miserable place, this material world. So we need to go to sukhalayam saswatam, the permanent, blissful place. So this is the science. This is the science we understand from Bhagavad Gita, that we are not the body, we are the soul, but we are bound inside this material body by the 3 modes of material nature, and we need to free ourselves from these modes of nature. And we think that I am doing this, I am doing that, I have to do so many work, so much of work, all such things. We blame someone for doing something wrong, and we take credit if we do something great, then we praise ourselves, all such things we do. But in reality, what we understand from Bhagavad Gita, that no one is doing anything. No one is doing anything. This is a very important science. So we understand from Bhagavad Gita that we are not the body, we are the soul. And we understand from Bhagavad Gita that we are bound inside this material body by the 3 modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. And we also understand from Bhagavad Gita that we are not the doer, we are not doing anything. But then why we are bound? When we are not the doer, then why we are bound in this material body? Because we foolishly think that we are doing. That is the problem. We foolishly think that I am the doer. That's why we are struggling and suffering in this material world. Krishna is very clearly teaching us that prakrite kriyamanani gunehi karmani sarvasaga ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. So everything is done by the 3 modes of material nature. So 3 modes of material nature are binding the soul inside this body, and they are also doing all the activities, everything. And we think that we are doing it. That's why we are struggling and suffering in this material world. That is known as ahankara. Ahankara vimudatma karta aham iti manyate. A foolish person, due to false ego, he thinks that he is the doer. So ahankara vimudatma karta aham iti manyate. So now, in order to free ourselves from this material veil, because now we understand that we are bound to take birth in this material veil, so that bondage is known as Janma Bandha. When we are forced to accept material body, we are caged inside this material body, so that bondage is known as Janma Bandha. And then we are forced to actually work in this veil, forced to do all kinds of activities. We are not free, and that bondage is known as Karma Bandha. So, now, only when we free ourselves from the three modes of nature, we can free ourselves from this Janma Bandha and Karma Bandha. And that's what we studied in the last 2-3 slokas in the 14th chapter. Krishna is teaching us that Na anyam gunebhyah kartaram yatha drashtan pasyati gunebhyascha param veti madbhavam so adhigachyati. So one who sees that nothing other than the three modes of material nature are doing everything, he is actually sees. And he is freed from the modes of nature and he attains my nature. That's what Krishna is teaching. So gunan ethan athitrayin degi dega samudbhava janma mrityu jara dukkaihi vimukto amritam ashnuti. Once we free ourselves from the three modes of material nature, then we will be able to free ourselves from the janma, mrityu, jara, dukkaihi, birth, death, old age, and all the distress. Everything we will be able to free ourselves. Vimukto amritam ashnuti. These are all produced by the body. Deha samudbhava. These are all produced by the body. So when Krishna said that, then Arjuna asked a question. That's what we finished in the last class. In the sloka number 21 in the 14th chapter, Arjuna asked a question. Arjuna uvacha kairlingai strin gunanethan athito bhavati prabho kimacharah katham chaitan trin gunan athivarthate. So by what symptoms I can understand a person has freed himself from the modes of nature? So by what behaviors I can understand? What will be his behaviors? Kimacharah katham chaitan Trin gunan athivatade. Very important question. Very, very important question. So we need to actually, if we understand all the answers given by Krishna, if we develop all those qualities, then we will be freed from the three modes. We can know that we are freed from the three modes of material nature. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is teaching in the 6th chapter, we studied at length and we will study again and again. Krishna is teaching us very, very clearly about how to control our mind, how to make our mind as our best friend. Very important. Krishna is giving step-by-step instruction. We don't have to go and read any other book. We don't have to listen to anyone else saying anything other than Bhagavad Gita. If somebody is teaching Bhagavad Gita, then we can listen. Then it's fine. Exactly as it is. As it is. As Srila Prabhupada has written Bhagavad Gita as it is. If we study, then it's fine. Otherwise, if they want to just give their own thoughts, we should not be wasting our time. So here, Arjuna asked such an important question. For that, Krishna is answering. So in the next, like in the 2nd chapter, sloka number 54, Arjuna asked a question about the symptoms of a self-realized person. Sthita prajna, a person who has achieved steady intelligence. So sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya kesava sthitati kim prabhasheta kim masita vrajeta kim. This is what Arjuna asked. So how can I understand a person who has achieved self-realization? Sthita prajna. So what is his language? How does he speak? How does he sit? And how does he walk? Like that he asks. So here he is asking, Kailinge hi trin gunane than athito bhavati prabho kimacharaka katham chaitan trin gunan athivartade. Arjuna inquired, oh my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature? So now in the next 4 slokas, Krishna is teaching us. Sri Bhagavan Vacham Prakasam cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandava nadveshti sampravrittani nanivrittani kankshati udasina vadasino gunairyo na vichalyate Guna vartanta ityevam yovatistati negate. Samadukka sukha swastha samalostasma kanchanaka tulya priya priyo dhiras tulya nindatma samsutihi manapamanayo tulya tulyo mitrari pakshayo sarvaramba parityagi Gunatitaha sauchyate. So it's 4 slokas. Normally we study 1 sloka. So Krishna is teaching that Prakasam cha pravrittim cha moham eva cha pandava nadvesi sampravrittani navnivrittani kankshati. So that means one who does not hate illumination, attachment and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear. That's what is known as Prakasam cha pravrittim cha moham eva cha pandava nadvesi nanivrittani sampravrittani nanivrittani kankshati. And Udasina vadasino gunairyo navichalyate. So one should be neutral. That's what udasino vadasino. So who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that 3 modes of nature alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress. Sama, dukkha, sukha, swastha. Swastha means who is situated in the self. And sama, dukkha, sukha. So one who treats both happiness and distress alike. And samalostasma kanchanaga. One who treats pebbles, stones and gold. Samalostasma kanchana. Kanchana is gold. Lostasma means pebbles and stones. So one who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone and a piece of gold with an equal eye. So tulya priya priyo dhiras. Priya means those who like and apriya means you don't like. So that is desirable, undesirable. So one who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable. Tulya priya apriya dhiras. Tulya nindatma samstuti. So ninda means somebody is blaming. Samstuti means somebody is praising. So both in honor and dishonor. So there is praise and blame. So praise and blame. Then mana apamanayo tulya. So mana means honor. Apamana means dishonor. So being equal in both mana and apamano. And tulya mitrari pakshayo. So mitra means friend and ari means enemy. So equal in both friend and enemy. That means who treats alike both friend and enemy. And who has renounced all material activities. Sarvaramba parityagi gunatitaha sauchyati. So such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. So Krishna is teaching that the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and undesirable, and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. So if we are able to achieve these qualities, if we are able to free ourselves from the modes of nature, what is going to happen? We will go to Krishna's way. We don't have to, that means the 3 modes of material nature are not going to bind us to this material body again. So we are going to study in the next sloka. Also we studied in the 7th chapter also. Krishna is teaching very, very clearly that these 3 modes of material nature, there is Maya, is very difficult to overcome. Devihi esa gunamayi mama maya duratteya. Mamyevaye prabatyante mayam etham tarantite. Anyone who surrenders unto me, of course out of love, not out of fear, out of love and devotion. Anyone who surrenders unto me out of love and devotion, he can be freed from the modes of nature. Mamyevaye prabatyante mayam etham tarantite. So that's what in the next sloka also we will study. Krishna says that anyone who renders devotional service unto me without any deviation, he will be freed from the modes of nature. So the only way we can free ourselves from these 3 modes of material nature is to get the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, understand it fully and follow it the way Krishna is asking us to do, and connect with Krishna and fall in love with Krishna and develop that prema, bhakti, everything, devotion towards Krishna, and slowly get out of this material nonsense. That's what is very important. Our mind should be tuned only to Krishna. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, successfully we finished today actually 4 slokas. Normally we finish only 1 sloka. So we finished in the 14th chapter, 25 slokas. We just have to finish 2 more slokas to finish the 14th chapter. And for those who have joined first time also, I'm sure you have not missed anything, because I have already covered, given the like synopsis of this entire Bhagavad Gita. So that